Hello. I have sort of fallen off of my 10-day challenge, but that's kind of hopefully understandable based on the current events of the world. I think all of us kind of knew that this was a potential of happening, and a lot of people knew that there had to have been something like this to come, but we all hope that, we're not alive when something like this does happen. But we are alive, and now it's time to figure out how to move forward as a society. And I've talked in some of my previous videos about my kind of recent journey and what I've been through in my life, and it's just kind of crazy that the state of the world is kind of going through now the similar types of trials that I faced in my life. And I just feel like we all need to really hold space for each other and give ourselves the time that we need to just slow down. I see a lot of people continuing to, work from home, do their job, which is important and fantastic. And, we can't just let the whole world crumble while we wait for this virus to go away. The wheels need to keep spinning. But if you are working for a job that has not been serving your life with meaning, and you have already kind of been, chomping at the bit to figure out, like, am I on the right path? Am I doing what I'm meant to be doing in my life? This right now is the perfect time to stop what you're doing, reassess your life, and kind of pivot and think, like, what kind of life do I want to be living? And rather than spending this quarantine time focused on what's coming or what, the losses that you may be experiencing and how to just scramble yourself to get the means to the next end. Where in my life I was fired from my job, I went through a really dark period of time, and I just felt this push kind of from my soul, kind of my intuition, I guess, yelling at me to, like, slow that down and take advantage of this time to get back to the passions that I loved, like art and YouTube and video creation and digital content creation, cooking, all of these things that just fell to the wayside when I was so busy and stuck in the grind. And yes, you need money to survive, but do you have enough money in your bank account to get you through, and also thinking about the support that is out there for you. We are here as a body to help each other, and you almost certainly have somebody in your life that will be there for you to help financially, emotionally, whatever, during these times. And times like this, historically, again, we in our lives have not faced anything like this, but our ancestors certainly did. And our ancestors worked so hard to give us the world that we had. And Mother Earth, the deities that oversee humanity, finally have, if you want to take a spiritual approach to this, you know, they're yelling and screaming at us like, this is time to slow down. And, you know, I'm speaking preeminently here. This is my little kitty. She wants to come up. I'm speaking a little, you know, it's early on in all of this, but I just can't help but feel that those that don't take the time to just slow down and appreciate their life, you know, I just don't think that that's the right choice right now. And, you know, I'm not trying to be dogmatic or forceful. And if you feel like you have to keep that grind going, then keep your grind going. You know, do whatever your gut is telling you. But, you know, we are not gifted time like this very often. And I think that when we are, it's really important to take advantage of it. And in my personal life, having recently been fired and having been given time and, you know, just thinking about like what I want to do, I have a lot of people, you know, reaching out to me and asking like, how are you dealing with this? And, you know, I was already kind of on a path of isolating and just giving myself the space and time that I needed to breathe and, you know, really reassess my life and my decisions and my experiences and kind of piece everything together to determine, like, at this point, what do I want to do? And as I've really thought about that, a lot of things have been coming back to the surface, you know, a lot of inspiration, a lot of creativity, a lot of passion that I had forgotten about. And I don't think that I ever would have been able to find that had I just continued grinding. Like, I got fired from my job like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago or so. And at that point when it happened, I didn't let myself slow down. I was working 80 hours a week, busting my ass, killing myself, destroying my physical health, eating junky food, you know, just moving further and further away from, you know, my authentic self, I suppose, because I was just living in so much fear of, I can't pay my bills, I need to get money to afford the next thing, instead of just like slowing down, listening to, like, you know, the people in my life that are like, we can help you. And, you know, because I was just so defiant, like, well, I need to take care of myself, instead of like allowing myself to receive the help that others were offering. And it's our time to slow down. And I really hope that people can, you know, take that to heart and be able to remember that. And if that's really hard for you, where it was almost impossible for me, I mean, I was like the most tightly wound, anxious person ever, you know, to the point that I had anxiety that literally crippled me, and I almost had to like go onto disability because of how crippling my anxiety was. But now I just have so much kind of clarity because of the time that I've given myself, because I've slowed down, because I've stopped, because I've listened to, you know, my intuition and my gut to just be at pause, and I just take that time to breathe. And when I feel that, you know, really incredible stress coming in, you know, I can recognize those kind of signals now, so that I don't have the same kind of, you know, negative reaction as, oh my God, this is what she does. I'm so glad that I got that on video, because she's like the sweetest cat, and she's like super affectionate, as you literally saw, and then she just turns on me like a psycho. Oh my God. Hey, she just bit me. Okay, I'm leaving that in because that's just cute and fun. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I am not here to like tell anybody what to do. I am just here as a person who's been through a lot of fucking trauma and a lot of shit and a lot of pain and a lot of heartbreak. And I've spun myself into so much crazy insanity that right now if there is energy or people out there, whatever may be causing this, if it's a god or if it's a superpower, if it's a government or whoever it is, if they are watching you and they are paying attention right now, if you don't change your ways, if you don't listen and kind of alter your existence to something more in tune with what you're supposed to be doing, it's like we're going through a test phase. And I truly believe that, if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing right now, especially more than ever, and I think that this kind of applies to humanity in the way that life kind of tests us in general, who knows what the outcomes will be? Who knows how pervasive this is going to become? Who knows how this is going to develop? And obviously, I'm taking kind of a spiritual view or approach to this, but at the same time, I'm very rational and scientific and logical, and I really only base my decisions on the way that I feel about things, on what I've experienced. And I grew up a hardcore atheist. I literally posted a video from high school talking about my religious beliefs, where I talked in detail about myself being an atheist. And the reason that I was an atheist is because at that point in my life, God or the higher power or whatever had never exposed itself to me in a way that I could understand, right? It was probably constantly exposing itself to me, but I was living in my authentic self, so I couldn't really recognize it. But when I started, going down a different path and choosing different types of behaviors that were really far away from my moral and ethical kind of code that I've set for myself, that's when trauma started manifesting in my life. Car crashes, theft, losing jobs, not being able to hold on to relationships. And I never realized in it, I was constantly just crying and asking, why is this happening to me? And not realizing that it was kind of because of the energy that I was generating from inside. And every experience that I've been through has kind of forced me into believing in a God or a spirit or a higher power. And, I think I've talked about this a little too, but I have recently found out that I come from being adopted, not knowing my bloodline, that I come from a very powerful line of spiritual people. St. Patrick, the holiday that we just celebrated yesterday, is one of my direct ancestors. And Joseph of Arimathea, whatever. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm not terrible, I'm sorry. But he or she, I believed I mentioned this in another one of my videos, is also one of my ancestors. So I have this where I feel these crazy gut intuitions and feeling these spirits and ancestors are speaking through me, where, because I grew up not religious and atheist, I have had no choice but to surrender my belief system and shift into believing and shift into a space of okay, this is my reality. This is my existence. And me coming to this kind of realization right now, I don't think is any coincidence. And I hope that, my journey and story can help inspire others to take that time to look back within and find out what it is. Maybe you're not adopted and you don't know who you are, but perhaps, a teacher in middle school told you that you could never be good at art, and so you just gave up and you never chose to be an artist because of that one person that diminished you in your life. But you've always felt a calling to art, and maybe it's time to reconsider that. And I'm not saying to that everybody has the same kind of ancestral spiritual relationship that I do. you know, if your ancestors, or you know about your lineage and it's not really significant to your life, then, you know, perhaps your calling is from something else. Perhaps your calling comes from something else. But I believe that my calling in life and my kind of greater purpose in life is attached to my ancestry and my spirituality, and finding that out in the fact that I was adopted and separated from my family, and now I've been put onto this kind of path to find my family and reconnect with my birth mother and talk to her, you know, to the point of like, we have really heavy spiritual ties in my family, and my birth grandmother was also adopted. So, you know, it gets me asking and wondering and thinking perhaps if there is some greater reason for why, you know, me and her were split apart from our traditional family, like perhaps to distance new members from danger, or, you know, who knows? I don't know. I mean, this is maybe something that I can continue looking into and continuing to like explore, maybe now that I have more time in this quarantine. I don't know. I mean, it's just a really, you know, I've kind of turned the whole global situation back into my own world, but I think that that's really an important thing for humans to do, is to relate your personal experience to the human experience, because it is all connected and it is all meaningful. And you know, we are in a really unique time in history where we are living through history. This is going to be, you know, I've been asking my friends this, like, do you think back in 1918, before World War II, do you think that the normal citizens of that time were under the impression that what was going to happen? You know what I mean? Do you think that they forecasted 2 world wars and basically the entire world being recreated? And, you know, I think where those lines were drawn at the end of last World War, perhaps, you know, that era of time has kind of reached its end point, and perhaps we're really entering a different age. The internet is it's a weird place to be right now. So if you've made it through to the end of this video, I really appreciate it. I hope that just know in your heart that you have to pay attention to what you have right now and not get wrapped up in the fear of what you don't have. And fear is something that can be seen and fed upon by those that don't have the best intentions. So be cautious, be wary, be strong, take care of yourself, and I will continue to be here. If you guys have anything that you want me to talk about or any ideas, you know, I haven't really been getting much feedback on these videos, but I'm doing these for me, so I'm just going to continue to post what I think is right and what I think will help people. So much love. I send my most sincere love and compassion to everybody out there, and I hope that you can get through this. And if you need somebody, I'm here. I'll put my email in the description below. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect over a phone call or over a video chat, and you know, we'll get through this together. I love you guys.